VOA Learning English, this is the Economics Report. Hollywood knows that China is the second largest movie market in the world. It will soon become the largest. Last year, movie ticket sales in China added up to $6.6 billion. So the American movie industry has developed ways to play a larger part in making and marketing films in China. American filmmakers are appealing to Chinese movie fans with more Chinese plots and characters. The movie Kung Fu Panda 3 is an example. The opening date for the animated movie was carefully chosen to get a lot of people into theaters. It was the Chinese New Year. Kung Fu Panda 3 earned more than $100 million in ticket sales on that day in China. The movie also broke with Chinese tradition. Most foreign films are not permitted in Chinese theaters during the New Year celebration. But Kung Fu Panda 3 was permitted because it has a Chinese partner, Oriental DreamWorks, based in Shanghai. For the United States, DreamWorks produced 2 language versions of the movie, one in Mandarin and one in English. Another movie with a Chinese plot will get attention later this year. The Great Wall will feature Hollywood's Matt Damon and Hong Kong's Andy Lau as lead actors. The English language film will also have a Chinese director. Paul Dergarabedian is a top expert at Rentrac, an international media researcher. He says many movie studios would like to partner with China because it is an important movie market. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. When American music star Kanye West has something to say, people seem to listen. Last month, West commented on Twitter about the cost of university textbooks. He tweeted that the prices must be lowered. A U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics report shows that from 1977 to mid-2015, the cost of university textbooks increased at 3 times the rate of normal inflation. Within a few hours of Kanye West's tweet, Tidewater Community College in Hampton Roads, Virginia, answered. "We got you," the school tweeted back. "The nation's first textbook-free degree." Tidewater began offering what it calls a Z degree in 2013. The Z stands for zero textbooks. The 2-year program provides students with a business degree. Students in the Z degree program do not have to pay for required course materials. They all come from the Open Educational Resources Commons. They are free educational materials anyone can use. You can find open educational resources online at oercommons.org. The University of Maryland University College is another school that uses OER to help its students reduce costs. Most of the school's courses became textbook-free late last year. David Anderson is with the American Association of Publishers. He says that for-profit publishers work hard to reduce the cost of textbooks. He also says that for-profit and non-profit publishers should work together to create the best teaching materials. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. The Philadelphia Refugee Mental Health Collaborative is in the American state of Pennsylvania. The organization teaches refugees the skills needed to live in the United States. Melissa Fogg is the group's program manager. She told VOA that weather, language, and safety are a few issues that can cause problems. There are many unwritten rules. Unwritten rules are behaviors that no one talks about, but that most people understand. Fogg and VOA Learning English worked together to create a list of 5 important issues a new arrival to the U.S. should know about. The first one is to be on time. In the U.S., being on time is a sign of respect. If you are late by more than a few minutes, people will take your lateness as an insult. Number 2, tip in some situations. A tip is extra money. You should tip restaurant servers, taxi drivers, people who cut hair, and some hotel workers. A tip is between 15 and 20% of the value of the service. Number 3, be careful what you say. It is best to listen to people share their opinions first and then decide about sharing your own. Do not ask about someone's financial or marital situations. But if a person offers you this information, it is permitted. Number 4, be aware of personal space. People in the U.S. feel uneasy when a stranger stands too close to them. Take one step back. When meeting someone for the first time, hold out your hand. And the last one is to have respect for others. This includes waiting in line for your turn. Fogg said, it takes time and work, but most new arrivals can feel like they belong. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. From VOA Learning English, this is the Health Report. Simple bandages are easy to use. They cover and protect wounds, giving them time to heal. Now, scientists say they are developing new kinds of bandages. They have begun adding small sensors to bandages, making them more sensitive. This is the technology used in popular wearable devices, such as smart watches and fitness trackers. Scientists are also making new materials called hydrogels. Hydrogels are similar to human skin. Researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology have found a way to combine these two technologies. They created a stretchy material that is similar to human tissue. The new product has wires that lie in a Z-shaped design. The wires connect to the electronic sensors and stretch easily without breaking contact to the sensors. Zhenhe Zhao teaches mechanical engineering at MIT. He says the resulting product becomes a type of smart wound dressing. It can react to changes in the skin around it. For example, Zhao says if there is a sudden increase in temperature, a command will be sent. That command can control the delivery of a drug to a special location. LED lights in the bandage could warn patients and doctors about changes in the wound. Medication can quickly spread across the bandage through tiny passages. Researchers say the new material can be used both on the skin and inside the body. But it will be some time before these smart bandages reach the hospital or drugstores. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Prasuti. From VOA Learning English, this is the Health Report. Researchers say they have identified a gene that can predict if you will have gray hair. The gene IRF4 was found and studied from the genetic codes of more than 6,300 people from Brazil, Colombia, Chile, Mexico, and Peru. The group included people of mixed European, Native American, and African ancestries. The IRF4 gene controls melanin production, which is responsible for the color of hair, skin, and eyes. Andres Ruiz Linares is a professor of human genetics at University College, London. He is the paper's lead author. He and his team identified a special gene found in about 15% of people with European ancestry. The people who carry this gene are more likely to have early gray hair. The researchers found that Native Americans do not carry this gene. The researchers say that gray hair is not influenced just by genetics. Stress or a terrible event can also contribute to a gray head of hair. The researchers say this study could be helpful to developers of hair care products. It could lead to treatments that may prevent or reverse the process that turns hair gray. The study also identified genes for other hair qualities. These included curly hair, beard, and eyebrow thickness. Ruiz Linares says linking genes to hair qualities is important. He says it could lead to better analysis of genetic information collected at crime scenes. The journal Nature Communications published the study. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Prasuti.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Health Report. Dying of a broken heart sounds like the ending of a sad love story, but it actually happens. The broken heart syndrome usually affects people who have received very bad news. Broken heart syndrome is officially called Takasobo syndrome, or TTS. It involves the sudden weakening of heart muscles. The signs of TTS are chest pain and shortness of breath. Although rare, it can lead to heart attacks and death. Recently, researchers discovered that even happy events can cause TTS. Christian Templin and Yelena Gadri are with University Hospital Zurich. For 5 years, they and a team of researchers tracked 1,750 cases of TTS across 9 countries. The team found that emotional shocks caused TTS in 485 of those 1,750 cases. And within that group of 485, a total of 20 people could be said to have suffered from happy heart syndrome. The events that caused happy heart syndrome include a birthday party, a surprise celebration, and the birth of a grandchild. However, none of these cases of happy heart syndrome caused death. Gadri and her team published their findings in the European Heart Journal. They found that TTS affects mostly women. About 95% of the patients in both the broken heart and happy heart groups are women. Happy and sad life events are, of course, very different. Further studies are needed to figure out if both kinds of TTS events share the same pathway in the central nervous system. For VOA Learning English, I'm Jonathan Evans. From VOA Learning English, this is the Science Report. February 2016 is the warmest February on record, according to data released by NASA. Worldwide surface temperatures were 1.35 degrees Celsius warmer than average. That broke the record set in January, which was 1.15 degrees Celsius above average. Monthly temperatures were compared in the base years between 1951 and 1980. Some climate scientists were surprised by the extent of the warming. Jeff Masters and Bob Hansen from the website wonderground.com say the findings are a true shocker. They say it is another reminder of the continuing rise in the world's temperature resulting from human-produced greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere. They are gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor. Climate expert Paul Knappenberger says the weather event El Niño is also to blame for this year's high temperatures. El Niño is the result of a band of warm water in the tropical Pacific Ocean. When the heat from that water is released, the Earth's temperature goes up. Knappenberger says the combination of greenhouse gases and the El Niño causes a slow rise in the Earth's overall temperature as short-term rises and falls take place. He adds that after an El Niño, there are often La Niña events. He said this can lead to cooler than normal weather conditions. El Niño and La Niña can shift back and forth every 2 to 7 years, causing extreme weather. For VOA Learning English, I'm Jonathan Evans.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Science Report. Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko have their feet on the ground after almost a year in space. The two landed in Kazakhstan March 2nd on a Russian spaceship. Kelly and Kornienko spent 340 days in space. They lived on the International Space Station, or ISS, for longer than anyone else. Now, Kelly also holds the record for the longest time an American has spent in space, 520 days. After landing, the two men were put in special chairs until they got used to Earth's gravity. Kelly spoke about the difficulties of living on the ISS for a year. He says it was a severe environment with only a small personal space. He says the toughest part for him was being away from loved ones. Kelly and Kornienko performed scientific experiments on the ISS, including growing flowers and vegetables. NASA hopes the studies will help guide its Journey to Mars program. It will take astronauts about 500 days to travel to Mars and back. During that time, they will need to grow their own food and share small spaces for many months. Scott Kelly is also part of a twin study. He has an identical twin brother. Mark Kelly is a former astronaut. During the past year, NASA has been testing the brothers. NASA researchers are studying how time in space changes the way a body ages. NASA will take what it learns from these men and use the information to help new astronauts. The United States Space Agency hopes to send humans to Mars in the 2030s. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report. The United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI, has taken legal action in the American court system against the technology company Apple. The case involves an Apple iPhone 5C. The smartphone belongs to killer Syed Farook. Farook and his wife murdered 14 people in San Bernardino, California on December 2nd. They were killed in a gun battle with police later the same day. Investigators found an iPhone Farook used. Farouk was employed by the San Bernardino County Department of Public Health. They own Farouk's iPhone 5C. The Public Health Department gave the FBI permission to collect information from the phone for their investigation. But the phone is locked with a secret password. The phone has a built-in tool that will remove all its information if the password is not correct after trying 10 times. Last month, a judge in Riverside, California, ordered Apple to create software to unlock the phone. The judge's order was supported by the FBI. Apple CEO Tim Cook claims the order violates Apple consumers' privacy rights and sets a bad example. He says it could take away the freedoms and liberty that government is meant to protect. Cook considers the software too dangerous to create. Once created, he argues, criminals could use the software to unlock iPhones and steal private information. This case may be argued for many months and years to come. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Presutti.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report. Prime Minister Hun Sen of the Cambodian People's Party joined the online social media site Facebook 3 months ago. Recently, he announced he had 3 million likes on his Facebook page. Now, Cambodia's ruling party spokesman has dismissed a report that the Prime Minister unfairly increased his number of Facebook likes. Hun Sen appears to have overtaken opposition leader Sam Raisy's 2.2 million likes. Raisy, head of the Cambodian National Rescue Party, has been on Facebook for at least 5 years. A report released by the Phnom Penh Post newspaper said that only about 20% of Hun Sen's likes were Cambodia-based users. Many of the likes came from people outside the country. The report raised the question that the Prime Minister might have been buying his support on the site. Nye Mose is head of the Internet Technology Department at an online rights advocacy group. He explains that Facebook users can pay money to advertise their Facebook page, a method known as boosting. Chuk Sopiap is executive director of the Cambodian Center for Human Rights. She says that a politician's popularity should not be judged by social media activity, but by their work as public officials. Hun Sen has been in power for more than 30 years. Political observers say Hun Sen is hoping that he can use Facebook to gain popularity. Important local and national elections will be held in Cambodia in 2017 and 2018. For VOA Learning English, I'm Jonathan Evans.